Alright, welcome back to Traders Consigliere Weekly Analysis. So, if you're new here, we look at the fundamentals and the technicals for the upcoming week. The pairs we look at is GU, British Pound, US Dollar, British Pound, Japanese Yen, commodities such as gold, and indices NAS100, SPX, and US30. So, we look at fundamentals first and then the technicals. So, we look at what transpired last week and then we look at the upcoming week and look at the important fundamentals to keep an eye on. So, this last week we had a lot of fundamentals because it was NFP week and we had a lot of debt ceiling talks and deals going on. So, on Monday we had a lot of bank holidays, we didn't trade. On Tuesday, we had consumer confidence that came in positive, higher than forecast but lower than last month, still showing inflation is persisting, positive for the US dollar. We have Joel's job opening, right? This came in at 10.1 million, which is a lot higher than the forecast and the previous month, which is very bullish for the dollar. This needs to be in the red if the dollar is if the Federal Reserve's rate hikes are working. This needs to be in the red, right? So this shows inflation is still persisting, the labor market is still resilient. So we had the ADP non-farm employment change as well, also another precursor to NFP, again in the green, lower than last month but still higher than forecast, much higher than forecast, still positive for the dollar, right? We had ISM manufacturing index, which is a purchasing manager index, which came in a bit in the red, right? So this is a smaller, not a big difference, but still a bit of a bearish US dollar sentiment. But all the news that has come out throughout the week has been bullish, and Friday was the biggest important fundamental day for the dollar, and we had NFP. So we had the number come in at 339k, which is massive, huge, which is higher than the forecast and the last month. And if you do look at the trend, wait, let me scroll up. So if you look at the February, it came in at massive, right, really high, and you saw it gradually drop. And again, what do we see? Employment has picked back up, and this is huge, right? This shows inflation is still persisting. And again, next month we'll know if this is an outlier number or what changed, right? So, but again, for now, this is extremely bullish, which so this number, retail investors started to look at this number and started weighing in if Federal Reserve will be hiking rates in the next meeting, which is at second week of June. Unemployment rate low, a bit high, but not a massive difference. Even average hourly earnings, not a big difference, a bit small drop. So labor market is extremely resilient. That's what we learned this week. So next week, the upcoming week, on Monday we have services PMI, important number to keep an eye on. A lot of yellow folders, which shows lower impact news. I think there's a lot of OPEC plus news this week. So if you're trading commodities such as oil, something to keep an eye on. US dollar, we have Thursday. On Thursday we have unemployment claims, sure, important. But majority of the week looks like we can trade every day, and it looks clear enough, right? And one thing to keep an eye on is the week after, right? Not this coming up week, the week after, we have a lot of heavy news, which is the FOMC and CPI. So there is a possibility this week we may see a bit of sideways movement that which tends to occur before FOMC. But if trades look good, we are taking them, right? So let's look at technicals. Let's start with British Pound. Actually, let's look at the dollar index before we look at any pair. So the dollar index is what measures the strength of the dollar. And we'll start off on monthly time frame with every time frame because the month ended. So we're going to start off right from the monthly time frame. So the monthly time frame shows us we have a head and shoulders, but not confirmed, right? We see a bullish engulfing, which occurred at the area of support at 101. If you go to the weekly shows again a bullish momentum towards the upside, right? But the current weekly is somewhat of a doji indecision candle. The daily, We see a bullish run, and we now see a small pullback. I think price may pull back towards this area that I've drawn out here, and then possibly we see a push up. So let's see how this develops throughout the coming week. Let's look at British pound and the dollar. Last week we didn't have any areas of interest, so let's start off on the monthly. The previous month, what does it say? We see a bullish movement, and we see the previous month hold support here at an area of 1.24. Right, so bullish on the bullish in this pair. On the weekly, we see a bullish move, but price broke through this structure point here, broke through, and this coming week, this previous week, we see a bit of a spike up, right? So we are bearish technically in this time frame, unless price breaks through these highs here, right? So bearish on this time frame. On the daily, what do we see? We see price break through this trend line here, right? Broke through, bullish. So therefore there's a lot of contradicting time frame analysis here, right? So on monthly we see bullish, on the weekly we see bearish, on the daily we see bullish. So what I would want to see is if the weekly structure or the daily actually break through this point here, and then I'll start looking to take short positions, because I need at least a minimum of my weekly and the daily usually at least to be aligned. So at the moment, I'll wait for structure to develop to start taking trades here. I want my multi-time frame analysis to be in sync. So let's look at commodities. Let's look at gold first. Let's go down to the monthly. So on the monthly time frame, what do we see? Bullish, right? Very bullish. And the last month candle closed as a doji, rejecting the last 2022 highs, right? If you see all the way through 22 highs. And we see price hold that bullish structure on the monthly. On the weekly though, we see bearish movement. You see how the price has broken through down there, breaking structure, and we are technically bearish on the weekly. On the daily, again we remain bearish. So on the daily, what do we see? Price, like last week we mentioned, held that area of resistance at 1980, and during NFP we had a lot of sideways movement, and price started pushing down hard, right? So we are bearish, so therefore we are looking to take nothing but shorts, right? So short positions. So let's look at the 4-hour time frame. So in the 4-hour, what do we see? 1980 was held, and we see a movement down, right? So if you go down to the lower time frame at 1 hour time frame, what do we see here? Price pushed through, gave us pretty much a double top there and pushed, right? So I want to see if price this week can pull from this area here towards this area there, right? And then we can take a short position there. So this area would be at, let's say, almost at 1978, pretty much. Remember, these points that I do note, these are zones, not a specific price, right? So as long as price can pull in here, I'll be looking to take a short, possibly with a stop loss of 28 to 30 pips, targeting these lows here at 1940. If price does drop to 1940 and price doesn't retrace, then I'll change my take profit areas, but for now my entry and my stop loss would be there. And I think this can give us a nice opportunity for big risk reward. So actually I want to move into GJ because I did not look into it, I forgot. So let's look at GJ also, British pound, Japanese yen. So let's look at the monthly time frame. GJ has been very interesting now. What do we see? Bullish movement, right? Heavy bullish movement, breaking the 2022 highs, and we are bullish, no mistaking that. Weekly bullish, right? And the weekly candle also bullish, but a smaller bullish candle. Possibly we may see price pullback, maybe, but we are bullish here. Daily also bullish, right? So what do we see? Higher lows, higher highs, right? So very bullish. So we look in the 4-hour time frame. What do we see? Price is bullish. Now what do we need to see is if we can figure out areas of entry. What do I see is price has filled out all the inefficiencies and gaps, and this area that I've drawn out here is at 90, almost at 180, around the 180 area from 178. I think price may go up and tap there. So now let's look at if we have any areas of interest. So what I can see is price, we see this massive bullish movement, right? Bullish, and see how price started slowing down a bit there. There's a possibility price may pull back, and if it does pull back, I'll be looking to see if it can pull back all the way towards this area of support, which is at 171 right there, let's say, right, 171. And I want to see if price can give us an entry around this area here. Not an entry, what I want to see is price, if price can give us see how price reacts here. The reason why is that is because if you actually even put out your long tool, what do we see? It is quite bullish, right? It's bullish, but the stop loss is kind of big. 50 pips for GJ, I personally do not like. It would be a swing trade. So I want to see what price does, but for now I'll let this be. I won't look at GU and GJ. If you want updates on GU, GJ, and if price does develop more interesting areas of interest, I'll be posting them in the Telegram group. Yeah. So let's look at SPX indices. SPX bullish, extremely bullish, right? So on the weekly, what do we see? Pull, push, right? Monthly is obviously bullish, weekly is bullish, daily is bullish as well. So we are looking to take only longs, right? Long positions. The daily time frame, on the 4-hour time frame, we see price pull back at that area of interest we liked and then pushed up, but price did not tap into our area of interest. So for the upcoming week, I'll be keeping an eye on again on the same area of interest that I had from previous week, which was again at, I removed the price note, it was at 4162. Yep, at 4162. And let me actually go down to the lower time frame, double check. Yep, so this area does look very interesting. So there's a possibility price can actually pull back as well towards this area here at 4190. Why is that? I do see a little bit of a confluent area. If I draw out a line here at, let's say, there, right? What do we see? Price was holding this important area as support, and we see resistance. Price breaks, rips through it, but we never saw price come back, find support. So this area here is where there could be a possible entry, if not the bottom zone. So here, so this area would be at, let's say, 41, let's call it 4190, right? A nice flat number, 4190. So I want to see what price does here. If price doesn't hold the zone, possibly price will drop towards the 4162 area. But if that does happen, if 4160, this area here it breaks through, then we see, I would be a bit careful with the entries at 4162 because structure has flipped bearish on the daily time frame. So I would like to see if price can hold this area as support and possibly take long positions here at 4190. NAS100 extremely bullish out of all indices pairs. Let's go down to the monthly first, actually. Monthly bullish, weekly obviously bullish, daily what do we see? Daily bullish, right? There's no mistaking it, extremely bullish. So we are looking to take long positions. Let's go down to the 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame bullish. So therefore, actually, we did not get an retest of this area that we had drawn out from the pre-weekly technicals from the previous week. So this area is again the most confluent area that I can see. right? I can see areas of liquidity build up over here. So I think I would be looking to take long positions at 14,000, right? Same area of interest. US30. US30 is a bit tricky. So let's look at US30. Monthly closed here in consolidation, right? It's a consolidation area. Weekly was bearish, but we now see we see how price perfectly tapped into our daily area, right? Daily demand zone, and we see a push. We go down to the daily, we see a bullish move. So weekly and daily is aligned, therefore we are looking to take longs, just like previous week. So on the 4-hour, we see price was going bearish for a while, right? Like if I draw like a pretty much like a trend line, you see how price is broken through, and now heavy bullish volume entered the market at NFP day. So therefore this is where I see the push occurred, right? A massive push occurred. And if I go down to the lower time frames, I see area of unmitigated area of demand. Therefore I would be looking to see if price can pull back here. This would be a massive pullback if price can actually pull back all the way here, which is almost like 1,000 points, like a huge move, right? If price can then pull back, then I take a long position. Otherwise I chill out. I see if price can develop further in the week. This would be at a quarter point, a 32,750. So that's what I'm looking for this coming up week. Not as many opportunities as the previous week, but we do see a lot of opportunities. Personally, I'll look at gold specifically, and US30 and NAS. If NAS can give me that move there, I'll be looking to take a long position. So those are the top 3 pairs, at least for now. And if you I'll be updating in the Telegram group if I see extra confluences or extra new areas of interest develop, new structure develop. So if you want more info, join the Telegram group. Until then, till next week. Yep. Take care.